right. We are time stamped for end. Okay, so do we want to stop here? Do we want to talk about their rights of war and the other rights of war? What are your people's thoughts?
I think we should try to wrap up Rites of War, but I want 5 minutes to get a snack.
Okay. Dan, what is your thought? If you're talking, we don't hear you. Did he say something in on the chat? Because I don't look at it.
Not in
He's using the
here.
bathroom. Yeah, he said
Ah,
I'm doing the
okay.
bathroom before we do rights of war. Okay, yeah, go get
Okay,
snack.
yep, so I'll be back in a few minutes with a bowl of cereal.
Sounds good. Dan was weirdly quiet. I'm like, why is he so quiet? Oh, he posted a message, said like, I'll be back. It's like, oh, that's why he's so quiet. Because we finished that, we're going to do the rights of war right after because it's the best time to do it. Because actually, it's only 10 something. That's not too bad. I mean, we started early, but we started early knowing that we were behind on stuff. I guess I could pause this recording for a moment. All right, and on this short video, we are going to be going through the rights of war for the Alpha Legion, for the 20th Legion here. Just as we've done before for these rights of war, we're going to start with a little refresher, just to remind people the main facets for this Legion in case you either, one, didn't watch our other video, which you should, or two, if it's been a little while since you have. The other thing when we do our rights of war is we like to start with the restrictions first, or the limitations, so that way you don't get too excited about something it turns out that you can't do. So, for a little bit of refresher on the Alpha Legion, for the Alpha Legion, this is the only Legion. I mean, it makes sense. They're sort of the twin-headed Legion that actually has two Legion traits. Their first one is essentially that you always count as 2 inches further when it comes to targeting purposes. So if someone wants to shoot you or charge you, you're 2 inches further, and that does count for any other modifiers, such as things like night fighting. The other trait that they have is that they can pick one special unit from another faction. So they can take someone else's unit. We're going to see in some of the rights of war some extras they can do. The big thing is, so they had two units. They feel that off of what they have, that they're good, the close to somewhat mid-range. And we said for some of this other stuff that maybe a little bit further range. They also had some very unique and interesting characters, especially one of them who's a just amazing assassin. So, with those sort of things being said, Steve will be up first to talk about the coils of the Hydra.
Oh, yeah. So, Coils of the Hydra, starting off with limitations so we don't get our hearts broken. All units in this Rite of War chosen with rewards of treachery must be deployed on the battlefield at the start of the first turn. They may not be deployed in reserves or assigned to a deep strike assault, subterranean assault, or flanking assault, or any other option that requires them to start off the table or in reserves. So, if you are taken and snuck into the Legion with rewards of treachery, you must start the game on the table or in your transport. It's fine as long as the transport's on the table. Second, you must include a number of units selected without the rewards of treachery equal to or greater than the number of units selected using it. They must begin in reserves or assigned to a deep strike assault, subterranean assault, or flanking assault, or other deployment option that requires them to start in reserves. So essentially, the units you stole start on the board. The units you didn't start off the board. Pretty
Yep.
straightforward. And what gains do we get? Well, for starters, you can take up to 3 units selected as part of the Rewards of Treachery special rule. Each of them is paid for as normal and yada yada yada. They take a force work slots as usual. Basically, instead of taking 1 unit from a certain legion, you get up to 3 units from that legion. You can't mix legions still. You only get 1 legion you're borrowing from, but you get to take 3 units instead of 1. So for legions such as the Ultramarines that have a variety of options, you can take 1 of each. Or if you just like, if you just like really, really love your Fire Drake Terminators, you just take 3 squads of them, and you ask, why aren't you playing a Salamander's army? All right. Next up, units in this rite of war taken as rewards of treachery. They gain fearless until one friendly unit has been deployed from reserves onto the battlefield. That will include allied detachments if you take any, um, but only if they come on from reserves. Um, and finally, if a model in this detachment is not taken using rewards of treachery, gets +1 to all hit rolls, both shooting and close combat. On the turn, they are deployed onto the battlefield. So you drop in from space or pop out of hiding or come on from the flanks, and that turn you get +1 to hit. So it's a great. Basically, the idea of this rite of war is you set bait, you're waiting for your prey to come in a little bit closer, and then you're pouncing on them with everything you've got. It's almost like a sneaky, stabby version of the Mauskara.
Yeah, it's a Markscar where you get to grab other random units you can take from a bunch of other people.
Yup. So legions, I would consider taking units from. I mentioned in the other video that I kind of like the Ultramarines units as options to steal from. They have the Fulminatars Terminators for long range solutions, and then they have the Suzerain squads for your close combat durability. Another option is the Emperor's Children because Noise Marines are great, but more importantly, Sun Killers are great,
Yeah, they are.
and you got some Sun Killers that are just rocking your world, backed up by. I don't know if the close combat units work without the Legion trait.
No, no, no. Remember,
Not
They're
well,
Palatine
still
no.
Blade.
they're
Wait,
still
wait, 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 wait,
okay,
wait.
but they're not
Palatine
as good.
Blades. Palatine Blades can now take jump packs.
Yeah, but they lose the initiative bonus, which is the
They're
main
initiative. Aren't they initiative
strength they
5
had.
normally?
No,
Really?
only if you get them power lances.
Oh, they are initiative 4.
Yeah, the
Boo.
Legion rules was doing a lot of the lifting there,
Yeah.
which is why I would consider going with the long range legions if you're going to be stealing um,
I
a
mean,
mix.
you could take Iron Hands and
I
take
was just thinking Iron Hands.
Gorgons, like Gorgons with the blind armor, the armor that makes people blind
Yeah.
if you shoot them. That's right? Their armor is the one that makes people blind, right?
Yes.
It's
In a
yeah.
short range, yeah.
So Gorgons would be a great choice.
I mean,
Man,
we said this off recording, but the big thing is for a good choice here, if you're building a legion, like, oh, I have Alpha Legion, I'm building my other Legion, I want to build something else, and you're just not there yet, like you don't have or don't want to yet build a legal ally, you just build the units you find fun and take them. Oh, I
yeah.
have a few of these guys. Oh man, I got to put together a whole bunch more attack marines or um, some sort of troop squads. Oh, or I can put together the fun guys and just throw them in here. There you go.
Yeah.
There's definitely better choices. Some things are definitely better choices than others, but if you're just taking for fun, take whatever you got.
Yeah, like don't take anything Thousand Suns because it's gonna fall apart. It's
Yeah,
just gonna fall apart. But yeah,
yeah,
it's neat. In theory, it could be your allied detachment. It could be your primary with an allied detachment on top of this. Um,
yep,
Before the rest of the Legion, I'd be looking at things. I would take several different out reserves options. I would look at taking something with deep strike, as well as something that could take a drill or a drop pod as an option. Although drop pods do normal deep strikes outside of a drop pod assault rite of war.
yes.
So that would just fall back under deep strike. But I digress. I would look at doing maybe some veteran squads or some destroyers in a drill, as well as some assault marines in a drop pod, because it gives you some melee power, some shooting power, and it's all set to pounce.
I mean, for anyone who didn't happen to watch our longer video going through the Alpha Legion, which if you didn't, go back and watch it. Um, but the other thing for that is Dan was talking about for the character Dynat, I believe is the one he can give
Mhm.
units like outflank and all. Okay, then that means you can then take your Lernaean Terminators and hey, now they have a flanking assaults. They can go into that. because that's an important thing to remember. If they're in this detachment, but they are Alpha Legion, they can't start on the board. So you got to figure out, how do you want them coming in? Do you have more interesting ways? Because walking in from the edge might not be worth not having them on the board for potentially multiple turns. So
Yeah,
characters
no, that's
or
it's a
things that
great
allow
yeah.
flanking and or deep strike, all of that is the big things to look for.
Honestly, if I was taking Dyna in this Rite of War, I would
Yep.
look at giving those 3 units to take 3 big, chunky, meaty units, like either just Aaron. Take a 15 man Terminator squad from Night Lords and just infiltrate them to the midboard.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
could you? Yeah, 'cause you remember you could. And you outnumber someone, so you're wounding on twos.
No, you don't,
No,
Dan,
you don't.
because you're not a
You
Night
don't
Lord
have your Legion
anymore.
trait.
Oh, that's right. You don't have your Legion trait. You're right.
But
You're
you have
right.
a
Nope.
lot of bodies that'll be hard to remove, while everything else shows up from reserves.
Yeah. As I said in the other video, the big thing to keep in mind is when you pick this, you don't get your Legion trait anymore.
Yeah.
Rewards of Treachery removes your Legion trait. It makes you Alpha Legion, which means if you're a unit that really needs your Legion trait to function well, or to really like, ooh, these guys are great because of this, you don't have that trait, so you have to be careful of that and keep that in mind.
Stupid question. Because I don't have the Imperial Fist in front of me. Do the Imperial Fist have the option to just take their stupid Vigil Storm Shields as part of an option, or is that their Legion war gear?
So, yes and no. So
It
they just
doesn't.
so they have the option as part of the Legion, but the Huskarls have the option as a squad.
So take the Huskarls, don't take
Right.
the actual.
Take
Okay.
Huskarls. You can't take a generic Tyranid squad anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. So you
Speaking of
can't
Night
take
Lords
generics.
and things falling apart, their squad sergeants normally get headsman's axes because they're Night Lords, not because it's a squad option.
Yep.
It's like, watch out for those little things like that too when you want to carry units into the fold.
Yeah. We didn't think to mention this in the other video. Maybe I'll edit something in there to say it. But yeah, that's the thing. Remember, you don't get your armory. So
Yes.
if it's not on your unit sheet, you don't have it as an option.
Yep. So no Sonic
Also, then
Shriekers unless you're
wait, hold on. So then
built
Fire
in.
Drakes, Fire Drakes don't get their shields. Then I
Yes,
think.
they do.
Oh, they get it as an option.
Yes, so generically, Salamanders for 10 points a model could swap out the Combi Bolter for a
Got it.
shield.
Okay, got
Fire
it.
Drakes it at 5 per model, but the entire squad has to take it.
Got it. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's listed on them, so that is an option. But yeah, if it's not on your unit sheet, you don't get it. It's a big thing to keep in mind. All right. Dan, why don't you tell us about the other one? Because this is the one
Yes,
you
my
wanted.
Headhunter. Yep. Also, the one I think again with only 2 bullets. I think it's one of the shorter limitations that we've had. So the limitations are all models with the vehicle unit type in the detachment must begin play in reserve, and the second limitation is you must have more fast attack than heavy support.
That won't be a problem here.
Yeah, you'll see why in a second. The effects. First of all, you could take Headhunter kill teams as troop choices and fast attack choices. So, I mean, I don't think the points will permit it, but if you
No.
wanted, I have to do math here.
You can't take your whole army to beat those guys. Don't even
9
try.
squads?
I mean, 9 actually. Hold
it's
on.
close.
If you're doing minimum, yes, you could.
2,500 points, you could do it.
No, even at maximum, I think you could do it.
At 2,500 point game, at 250 a squad,
That's 225 a squad,
you'll have the
right?
points.
225 times
At
9.
minimum.
125 min squads.
It's
A
no,
125.
but I'm
Yep.
doing maximum. Just do maximum.
Okay,
It's
so
225. That's 2,025 for 9 squads.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't spam them to that level. That's just not.
No, I'm just saying.
not a
You
fun
know,
game.
I know, but I was just laughing because I was like, you could if you wanted to, and then add in what's 9 times 20, 180. They all have multi meltas. You're at 2205. You're good.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't
Never
do that,
go to
please.
that level of anything.
Also, hold on. Just okay. Don't do that ever for spamming. But also, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, the Headhunter squad from Forge World is sold not as bodies, but as upgrade kits. So for 5 of them, it's $50. So
Yeah.
no.
People
Just
convert
no.
stuff.
My
No.
advice: take your beakies, get extra bolters, glue them on top of the normal bolters, give them the cool over/under combo bolter, and from there, good luck.
Yeah.
Alright, so if an army includes a detachment using this rite of war, then the slay the warlord secondary objective, if it is used in the battle being played, which I think is in every battle.
No, it's
From
not.
the No, not all of them.
Really?
It's in most,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
but not all.
Is worth an additional 2 victory points to the controlling player. So,
It
plus, I'm
may
sorry,
matter, it
an
may
additional
not.
plus 2 victory points.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it makes it a 3 points
Yeah,
if it's
3
being
point.
used.
Yeah.
Or a D3
And,
plus 2, because sometimes it's D3.
That is true.
oh, yeah. And then during the first game turn, all units composed entirely models with the infantry unit type gain the Shrouded 5-up special rule while at least 12 inches away from any enemy unit. And this works well with the headhunters because they infiltrate and scout, so you can infiltrate them up the board. They get Shroud 5+. It's nice. Um, Overall, I mean, listen. If you're taking headhunters, you take this Rite of War. It's very straightforward, and this is also kind of not forces you, but this really kind of waylays you into using your headhunters as I'm going to kill your warlord with melta guns as much as humanly possible.
I mean, weren't we doing that already?
We were, but this is more like that is 3 victory points.
So, Dan, if you treachery in a unit to this rite of war, which unit would you steal?
God, that's a hard one. Actually, the Raven Guard one. The
Which one? The Talons or
yeah,
the
the ones
snipers?
with the claws.
The
Oh,
Dark
actually, no,
Furies.
probably the ones with the snipers. What's the one that no, the one that gets rending? Which one is that? That's the one that get rending bolters for that one turn.
The Mordathan.
More days.
Mordathan. Oh yeah, the bolter. Yeah, I'd take the Mordathan actually, because
I'd look
they
at Sun Killers, because now on
Yep.
top of being Sun Killers, they also have Shrouded 5 up.
the reason I say Mordathan is because you toss out how many shots was it with the Volkite, and it was a 40. Can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Each
Yeah,
model with the Combi Volkites getting 4 shots
yeah.
at
So 40 shot.
12-inch range.
So 40 shots, rending 4 up. Really gonna wipe that squad out.
Ew.
Yeah,
Gross.
I'm
And
looking for
that's
your.
unit that does not depend on Legion rules whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Because that's an inbuilt rule. Do they come with shroud bombs too? They might. I think they come with shroud bombs. So I can't
Yes, they
remember.
do.
Yeah. So this is the -8 to shoot them because now they're Alpha Legion. Congratulations. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would take more
that'll work.
Dathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take
More
these with
days.
more Dathan.
Yeah.
100%. Because my objective has now changed to getting 3 victory points as quickly as humanly possible. I am
If it's in there,
if it's in there.
the big
Well,
thing.
I'm surprised. I thought all the missions had Slay the Warlord. I'm very surprised. I'm trying to remember which ones don't, but I can't.
Remember though, like you said, you also talked about playing in events and everything like
But
that.
even
Slay the
even
Warlord's
in
not
events,
always going
Slay
to be
the
a thing
Warlord.
everywhere.
No, I mean in every event I played, Slay the Warlord was a common. It just was.
All right.
Um, but yeah, no, 3 victory points. I like it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we don't have any further thoughts, that is
Oh, just
them.
good. Huh?
You were saying something and then you
Oh
trailed
no, I
off.
was just saying it's just a good legion. It's a good legion. I like the Rite of War, and
They're very
honestly,
straightforward. So the options are
Yes.
super wide open as to how you want to do things. But understanding what they do, very straightforward. Minimal
yes,
explanation required.
Yes. Yeah. I think the first one to me is a lot more exciting than the second one. The second one, okay, if you like headhunters, I guess go with it. But the first one, I think it's just so much more fun. And
no,
overall,
the
I
first
find
one
it
is
better.
completely a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think overall it's better for what it can do and the options it opens up. Um, I kind of like it more, but that's
Mm.
okay. All right, that is a very short review of their Rites of War.
That was painfully fast.